This is Austin St. John, and you are watching That Hashtag Show. You better pay attention.
What's up, guys? This is DJ from That Hashtag Show with legendary voice actor Lex Lang. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Wow, it's a real pleasure to be on the show.
Dude, it's a pleasure to have you here. You voiced like some of the dopest characters. I gotta tell you, man, I'm a Rurouni Kenshin fan, and I love Sanosuke Sagara, dude.
Oh yeah, Sano, yeah. Actually, Sanosuke's voice is very close to my own voice. Most of these other characters I tend to veer off a little bit, but Sano is like right here, right in the heart.
Right in the heart, so that's the sweet spot right there. Perfect. But the main reason we really want to talk to you, though, is your role on Power Rangers.
Oh yeah.
In Turbo and in Space.
Yes.
Take us through that journey, man.
Wow, let's see. I was doing loop groups, which is all the added extra voices on a show. I don't know if anyone's familiar back home with what loop groups are, but basically they'll shoot a scene. Let's say they're shooting us right here. They do a close-up on you, close-up on me, maybe a two-shot on both of us, and let's say there were people behind us. They would all be miming their roles. They'd be very quiet. So then later, after the scene is shot, then they bring in a bunch of voice actors on the loop group, they call it, and then we do all the background voices. Well, that's kind of how I started on Power Rangers. I was the loop group for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and a little bit of Power Rangers Zeo. In fact, Power Rangers have a big part of how I started as a voice actor. I was on the movie set in Vancouver, and it was a movie my friend Bentley Mitchum was doing, and his co-star was a lady named Amy Jo Johnson, who was the Pink Power Ranger.
We might have heard of her.
Yeah.
We may have.
You might have heard of her. But she became my friend, and she heard me doing some impressions and things that I used to do as part of a stand-up routine. And she said, "You'd be a great voice actor. Let me introduce you to Scott Page Pagter, who is the producer over at the Power Rangers." So that's what I did. I went there and I met Scott, and he said, "Hey, you got some versatility. Why don't we bring you in for the loop group?" So that's initially how it started. And then I heard that there were going to be some auditions for some parts. This is a little known fact. I kind of begged my way into doing a character named Louis Kaboom, who was in, I think it was either Zeo or Mighty Morphin. I'm not positive. It might have even been Turbo, now that I think about it. But
I don't think it's Mighty Morphin.
not Mighty Morphin? Okay, so it was probably Turbo then. And all he would do is go, "Louis Kaboom!" You know, and that's all he did.
Yes.
Things would explode every time he touched his hands together. So that's the first role I begged for, and then I got a chance to show Scott some versatility, and I got to audition for Rygog, who is, he's this cat right here.
Yeah, he's one of the main baddies, one of the main henchmen in Turbo. Sure.
Yeah. And so I started doing that, and I ended up being Rygog for the whole season, and then they did the Turbo movie, and from there I also played Larigo, who's the little wizard. He's also on this little sheet here. I don't know if you can see it or not. He's right there.
Dude, that's awesome.
Oh, there we go. He had like a little tiny voice that would be like bubbly like that. Whereas Rygog would be much more in here, that kind of thing. So I started doing that. And then after Turbo was done, I was offered a chance to audition for Ecliptor in Power Rangers in Space. And I got that part, and the rest is history. From there I started doing other animation, but Power Rangers will always have a very special place in my heart, because it's kind of where my roots are.
I had no idea that Rangers actually, in a sense, paved the way. I had no idea.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
That is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as Rygog and Ecliptor, because here's the thing, like, as far as your fans that are Power Ranger fans, who do you think, which character approaches you the most as far as which character is like the favorite?
Who do they like the most? It's kind of a mixed bag. It's very evenly split, yeah. People who are like more into the comic side of Power Rangers like Rygog a lot, because him and Elgar would be like the two comic buffoons on the ship. But people who are more into like the villain, the supervillain stuff, they really gravitated towards Ecliptor a lot.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I have to admit, I am an Ecliptor. Rygog is cool,
Yeah.
but Ecliptor is like my heart.
Yeah.
He was such a complex character. He was an honorable villain,
Yeah.
and he was a surrogate father.
Like he had morals too, besides being a villain. He was torn between good and evil.
Yes, absolutely. All right, sir. I'm gonna put you on the spot. How well do you know your seasons?
fairly poorly. No, I do. I know I'm okay. Go ahead.
I like it. We're starting off on a great foot. All right, man. So I'm going to give you a Ranger pop quiz.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with Turbo. What were the henchmen that were sent to attack the Rangers? If Mighty Morphin had the putties, what did Turbo have?
The Quantrons, I believe.
You were close.
No.
Actually, that was one of your seasons.
Oh yeah.
It was
that
the
space in the Quantrons.
It was in space.
It was in space. Okay, I knew he sent them out. So let me think. What was it for Turbo? I don't recall.
Piranatrons? Piranatrons. They had little fish heads and little fish scales. So it's like you get bonus points for getting Quantrons.
Quantrons. Yeah, I knew it was one of those I sent off.
Okay, how about this? Speaking of Turbo, where did that season? Which city did Turbo take place?
Oh my God, I'm gonna fail so badly. Turbo. What city did Turbo take place?
I'll give you a hint. There's a halo involved.
There's a halo involved. Los Angeles.
Okay, I totally threw you off.
No. A halo. Angel City. No.
Angel Grove.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Angel Grove?
It did take place in Angel Grove.
Angel Grove. Oh boy, I failed.
That's
I
okay.
flunked.
We do not fail in Rangers. We just take.
Flounder a bit is what we do in Rangers. There's no flail. It's only flounder.
There's only flounder in Rangers. How about this?
Okay.
In space, do you remember the theme song?
Oh God. Why do you put me on the spot like this, guys? It's been so long. I mean, how many years ago was that? I mean, seriously.
Yesterday.
I mean, how many years ago? Probably 15, say, 17, 18 years ago? It could have been 20, right? 20 years ago?
It might.
It was.
I think it was like 18.
I started 21 years ago. And so that was like one of the first things. Sadly, I don't recall. Do you remember it? Will you sing it for me?
Are you asking me to?
Yes, I am. Please do.
Here we go to outer space now, flying higher than ever before. How far am I going?
Okay, that's about it.
Thank
That's
you.
good.
Okay, because I'm like, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll leave the voices to you, like for sure. Not meant for it at
I
all.
can remember a line from the show.
Yes.
Turbo.
Yes, please. Matter of fact, do you have one for both Turbo and in
Yeah, I
space?
think so.
Oh, let's do it.
Well, for Turbo, it was one of the funny lines to me was when Rygog said,
That's what happens when you send a moron to do a mutant's job.
Love it.
that was what I remember.
I love it.
Ecliptor is just,
No one can defeat us.
no one can defeat us.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm kind of geeking out a little bit. I'm kind of having like that. He was so good. He was so good.
Yeah, so that's all. You know, it really does have a special place in my heart. You know, because it's like when I look back all those years back and just the fun we had on the, you know, recording in the recording studio, and Scott Page is such a cool producer to be, you know, directing us, and I'm sure he knows all the songs and knows all of that.
Actually, I'm pretty sure our producer JD knows all the songs too. He's like our Rangerpedia for a fact. I mean, and now
Just behind the camera, for those of you who see, I'm looking like past the camera there. He's back there smiling away like, I know all the answers. You know nothing.
welcome to our world. I mean, and now look at you now, dude. So is there anything that you're working on now that you'd like to make mention of?
Yeah, I'm doing some Star Wars stuff. I'm doing some Pokemon. I'm playing the Magma team leader, Maxie, in the Pokemon Generations. Doing some One Punch Man. Got some Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans coming up. Season 2, I'll be directing that as well as being in it as a couple characters. Yeah, and then the rest just keeps coming in. I'm also doing some voices on Legends of Tomorrow, which is a CW show. So when you see the big creatures and, you know, anything like that, like giant wraiths and hawk creatures and, you know, that kind of stuff, that's me usually. So it's a joy, man. It's like I wake up every day and I think, you know, what a blessing it is to have this job and to be an actor and, you know, actually be able to pay the rent and put food on the table and come to these shows and meet fans and stuff. Because, yeah, very cool.
It's just doing what you love, basically.
Yeah, doing what I love. And that's my advice to anybody out there is if you have something you love to do, just keep doing it. Don't pay attention to people telling you it's not for you or you shouldn't be doing it. If you have it in your heart that you're like loving it, doing it, you can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong. It will never fail you to do what's in your heart.
So would you still say you're a fan of Power Rangers? Are you still a Power Ranger fan?
I am. You know, and I do a lot of cons with the Power Rangers, like with Walter and everybody else. I mean, all the different Rangers, Melody and stuff. And you know, we've become a family of friends over the years. And we may not know all the trivia that all the real super fans know, but it's like really it is a family, and it's you can tell that if you ever come to one of these cons. and you see us interacting with each other, you can tell like we all have each other's backs, and we all are in support of each other.
Lex, I want to thank you, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for your interview. I appreciate it. Thanks, JD, behind the cam.